Welcome again back to Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you've got a busy schedule, like we were saying. You've got a busy schedule while you're here.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading up on you, and you turn 88 on November 15th. So where do you get the energy to do all this stuff?
It's the last gasp. Yeah.
Last gasp.
It's excessive gas that I'm slowly emitting, and it won't be replenished.
That sounds very environmentally aware. So obviously so tomorrow you're going to be doing the one-man show in Salem.
Mm-hmm.
And is that you?
Isn't that wonderful? What could that possibly be?
It's a lilting ringtone.
Oh, it's my worrisome son, who's a pain in the ass, and he'll hear from me later.
Okay, I hope he's okay waiting a minute or two. Anyway, so first of all, since the show is coming up on Saturday, now the show is called A Man and His Prostate.
You betcha.
That's not a title you hear every day.
No, it's not. No.
And it's written by Ed Weinberger, who was also your co-author on the book.
Right.
And you worked with him on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah, he was one of my producers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what is A Man and His Prostate about, other than perhaps that title?
Well, it's based on Ed's own experience being on a cruise ship and being hit by an attack of prostatitis.
Oh dear.
And going ashore and being treated by an Italian doctor beyond his wildest dreams. And the show is a very funny presentation, excuse me, which, as I say, is funny and at the same time is an excellent presentation of the danger and the necessity for treatment by victims of prostate cancer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's entertaining and kind of a public awareness thing. Yeah, okay.
Which is why I have great pleasure in doing it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, again, that's kind of a big lift. I mean, a one-man show, you can't even sort of look to the other actors in the cast.
Can't blame you.
If it doesn't work, it's all on you.
But they're laughing so good, I don't have to worry about assessing blame.
Yes. Okay. And then you're back in Portland on Sunday. You've got a busy day. You're going to be doing an appearance with Livewire. And then also you're going to be at the Powell's Books at Cedar Hills Crossing talking about your new book, and I love the title of this, The Gracchi Historian, and it's got a wonderful subtitle, An Angry Old-Time Lefty Defends Our Constitution Against Right-Wing Hypocrites and Nutjobs.
And they abound.
Now, you have an introduction in the book where you talk about why you decided to write it, but I just kind of want to hear you talk about that a bit more, I guess.
Well, Ed and I both just got fed up with the right-wing assertion that they know the Constitution and are the most intelligent interpreters of it. And we decided to wrest a little bit of it back for us on the left.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think we succeed quite well, and those people who have read the book laugh their asses off and hardly approve.
But you, it sounds like you did your homework.
We did. We
Yeah.
certainly did.
Yeah.
And as we refer to Antonin Scalia as having been one of the finest minds of the 13th century. And
Okay.
our reference to Senator Ted Cruz is a quote from Lindsey Graham, who said that if Ted Cruz were shot on the floor of the Senate, no one could be found who admitted to guilt.
Ooh. Ted Cruz does not seem to be the most popular guy in the Senate. I've noticed. There are people who say things like that about him, yes. And for Lindsey Graham to say that was interesting because they're in the same party.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So, I mean, obviously everybody's talking about politics now, and as you say, the Constitution. I mean, that has become, it's become like the hot topic. And so again, I mean, obviously you're hoping people will learn something, will be amused.
Well, there's hope, I guess. After the governor victories in Virginia and New Jersey, and a lot of little ones too, I think maybe the people are waking up and renouncing this selfish party called the Republican Party.
You're not a supporter of the Republican Party.
I am not. Certainly not in its present instance. And I would assure you that they'll probably be changing their colors quite heavily by the time we get to a major vote affecting the House of Representatives.
You're thinking like the 2018 elections? The 2018 elections?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, you've had kind of a well-documented, very public past of being an activist, being a liberal activist. You were the president of the Screen Actors Guild for 2 terms. How did you come to be so enthusiastic about kind of the left side of the
Well, it's
the
the more
partisan
human
divide?
side.
Yeah.
It's certainly the more generous side. It's not dictated by business and riches. To see the gap that has occurred between the 1%ers in this country and the middle class is shocking and very troubling. And we have to work very hard to stop that gap from growing as it is now. I mean, the tax plan that the Republicans are coming up with is ridiculous because the middle class in the end will be made to pay for it. And the 1%ers will be getting off scot-free, probably enjoying more profit than ever.
So you are definitely still, as you say, the old-time lefty.
I think there's a lot of newness to it too, because we have the dinosaurs to defeat, i.e. the Republican Party and the business and tax-oriented people, and the battle is always on. So we have new forces. Let's put it that way.
You know, this, as I say, this is not a new thing for you because I remember when the Lou Grant show was on and it was canceled. There was quite a bit of talk that was politically motivated because you were an outspoken liberal. What do you think about that now, these years later?
No, nothing's changed.
Do you think it was motivated by politics?
Definitely. I mean, I saw writers and editorialists who had supported me in the past do a 180-degree about-face on me once my position on the death squads in El Salvador was announced. Kimberly Clark, a big sponsor of the John Birch Society, had 2 factories in El Salvador. And the other 2 were Brit-owned companies, Vidal Sassoon and Cadbury's Candy. And they weaseled out of sponsorship on the show. But I was assured by a vice president of the network that sponsors were standing in line to take their place. So why else would the show be canceled? Paley got his
William S. Paley?
His wig in a knot.
Wig? I didn't know he wore a wig.
I don't know if he had one or not. He should have. He got his wig in a knot and didn't like an actor being identified with a political position. He moved against the Smothers Brothers, and I think he even daunted Murrow at one time.
Edward R. Murrow?
Yeah.
And Paley was the head of CBS, right?
Yes. He owned it.
Yeah.
So finally, he moved against me.
Well, before that, I mean, obviously you've got a history of, what, 7 Emmy Award wins, which is, I think, the most for a male performer?
Maybe, I don't know.
And then, obviously you originated the Lou Grant character on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah.
And when Mary Tyler Moore died earlier this year, you spoke, I think, rather eloquently about just sort of the role she played in terms of helping make that show and bring the cast together. I just wondered what you had to say about that and kind of what
Her Herculean work and being the grande dame.
Is that
She
what you would
was
say?
the grande dame. And we all depended on her, and she was the guiding voice and influence of that show, along with its producers, of course, who were brilliant. But none of it would have worked without her central position. I compare her to the axle, and the rest of us loonies being the tires. And she enabled us to spin.
How did she do that? I mean, what was special about her?
Well, she didn't interfere. She accepted. She would express her taste. And I'm sure she had problems with scripts. She discussed them before she got into public. And but there was never any problem too great that couldn't be solved. We had a great director, Jay Sandrich. Our producer writers were of the best. Went on to sponsor and write many other shows. So, and over all of this, the overlying presence and essence of her husband, Grant Tinker, who was the ultimate in taste.
Yeah, I mean, he was behind lots of classic shows. Yeah. You know, and obviously people still watch the Mary Tyler Moore Show all the time. I mean, it's in reruns on TV.
They're smart people.
Smart people? Well, and the Lou Grant character was obviously just such a key part of it. I mean, from that pilot on, where he says the famous line about spunk.
I hate that line.
You do?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I love spunk. And anybody who doesn't is a jerk.
Worked in the show, though. It worked in the show.
I know. And they peed their pants when they heard it.
Yes, indeed. I think the show became a hit from that minute.
Yeah.
Now you're back in Oregon, as we were saying earlier, and you've been here before. I mean, you were saying that you used to be on the.
I love the state.
Yeah, you were on the board of the Oregon Film Board.
My daughter was living here. 20 years.
And what is it about Oregon that makes you feel comfortable?
Well, first of all, it's a blue state. It's a unique state. It follows its own master. It's a gorgeous state geographically, and it has many noble traditions. There ain't a thing I don't like about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're obviously a very busy person, you know, and obviously people of many generations know your work. I mean, obviously younger people know you from the voice work that you've done, obviously in the movie Up and other projects. Are you working on anything now, or are you going to take some well-earned retirement time?
Well, I'm doing my one-man show in Salem.
Yeah.
Which is A Man and His Prostate.
Exactly.
I'm doing various book signings. I'm at Powell's on, was it Sunday?
Sunday, that's right, yes.
To sign copies of A Man, the Grouchy Historian.
The Gracchi Historian.
And I'll be doing varying performances of, I'm doing a Family Man, I think it is, and then a small bit on Family Man later in the
Voiceover?
month.
Voiceover for that?
Yeah,
Oh, Family Guy, that one?
Family Guy.
Yeah.
And then doing a reading of a wonderful play on the Holocaust called The Soap Myth, rehearsing it in New York and performing it in Florida and New York. That'll take a couple of weeks, along with my one-man show performances. And playing it by ear.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, a lot of people would just be kind of sitting back and taking a rest.
Then I have to look in the mirror. And that's not pleasant.